everyone. Thanks so much for coming to Jess and Andrew's big day. You folks look amazing. 3 years ago, Jess and I started a list of things that we wanted at our weddings. It was complete with where it would be, what the favors wouldn't be, what sort of friends we wanted to stand, and how we would set up our head table. I promised to help her with her dislike of weddings, and we both promised to be at the other's wedding. I'm sorry I'm not holding up my end of the bargain. We said we'd have an amazing photographer, and that no one would play a recorder at the ceremony. Even Jess knew this was bad. There were things we both imagined, even down to what our husband would help with, and what our rehearsals and our conversations would be like. Years later, here we are. We have the people standing, the head table is set up. The rehearsal dinner has come and gone. And I don't know if everything went the way we imagined, but to be honest, the only thing that really matters is that her Prince Charming is standing next to her. So, here we have Jessica and Andrew, my best friends and my future husband's best friend. Don't worry, Andrew, I promise to pick a nice guy. I just thought I'd take this time to fill you in on just how amazing my best friend is. I met Jess the first week of grade 9. We were 14 and in math class, and neither of us knew that we were about to start a friendship that 9 years later had no hope of ending. Jess does a lot of things that she doesn't mean. When we were in grade 9, we went up to my camp on Quintet Lakes. We had a great time, but while we were in the boat, water splashed up and soaked her jeans. She hung them on the top bunk to dry, and a few hours later, maybe even the next day, I was trying to make the bottom bunk when Jess said, "You can just pull my pants down." We only met in September? Another time, Jess and I were lost. We were on our way to a wedding and missed our exit on the 401. After calling for directions, long before everyone had iPhones with GPS in their back pocket, we felt that we had been driving for far too long. Suddenly, we passed a sign, and Jess, exasperated, cried out, "Crooked Creek! Where the heck are we?" To which I replied, "I don't know, but I think that says crooked." There are so many things that I love Jess for. I love that we can lay under the stars for hours just chatting about whatever we feel like. I love that we can go to the beach, sit on the same blanket, and be completely engulfed in our books, yet completely happy to be interrupted when we just have to share something with the other. I love that when we go on road trips, we take turns driving and, in turn, reading. There are so many books I think on fondly of times when we drove to some place or another that when I see the titles, the stories come alive with Jess's voice as the narrator. I love that Jess is spontaneous, be it planning a photo scavenger hunt or some silly date night for people who aren't even dating. I love that taking pictures is what she does when we're bored, and that sometimes in the middle of the night she'll go on a chips and salsa run. I love that I can't remember the last time Jess called me Steph because she calls me best friend instead. It's a reassuring joy. And I love standing beside Jess in church. It's one of my favorite things in the world. I love Jess's high-pitched voice when she's excited, and I also love that Andrew won't be able to catch up on our sleepovers for at least 5 years. And I love that I just made every person in the room wish they had their very own Jess. She's one in a trillion. 2 years ago, Jess and I were just finishing up our week on Manitoulin Island. We had the absolute best week, even better than the year before, and even still the year before that, which always seemed impossible. We were sad to leave, but we packed up and got about halfway from the camp to the swing bridge when we had an idea. We turned around and sped off to Mindemoya. We stopped at the hardware store and decided on black, and then restarted our trek home. From the second we got off the island, our pace slowed and cars were passing us, but we were searching for something. Finally, we found it, a flat rock face across from Wadigata Road, just 10 minutes before Espanola, waiting for us to write our mantra on it. We pulled over, we crossed the road and climbed the rock ledge. We opened our black can of spray paint and giggled with excitement as we painted, "Your voice was the soundtrack of my summer. Jess and Steph, 09. I have to be honest, I didn't want to leave it at just 09. We'd been the soundtrack of the other summer for many others before that, and I wanted to add those years too. I wanted us to record our history. Jess and I have been friends for 9 years. We have a legacy of friendship. And today, you've been married for a few hours. I pray it turns into a legacy. I pray the signatures on the registry stand the test of time, and that people will dote on your marriage. And I pray the soundtrack of your marriage is God's voice, and that together you make the most beautiful of songs.